So, as you know, Donald Trump's polls have gone down considerably. There's many reasons for that. The ridiculous trade war that he's doing with every nation on earth. His constant warmongering, but I don't believe in war. I think war is bad, but I've got all the bombs and I will use them. But, or the fact that they're snatching people up off the street, black bagging them, V for Vendetta style, and shipping them off to a gulag in not Saudi Arabia, in El Salvador. I mean, it could be any number of reasons why his polling is going down. Or it could very well be that the GOP's plan to cut $880 billion, almost $1 trillion, almost as much as this year's military budget. But they want to cut $880 billion from Medicaid. So medication and health care for poor people. Fuck those people. If it's 8, 9, 10 million people that lose their health care, who gives a shit? I don't care. I'm just trying to get paid over here. But maybe that is the reason, because today a headline came out that always seems to happen. It's on Fox News, of course. State TV, Fox News, always running cover for Mr. President, says that Donald Trump is fighting back against Big Pharma. That's the headline. And, for all you Fox News watchers out there, you look at that and you're like, yeah, you get him, Mr. President. You tell him who's boss, because we don't want to take this vaccine. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The reason why people on the left, like me, have a problem with Big Pharma is because they fucking price gouge us. 90% of the drugs that are matriculating through our nation that people use, whether it is Ozempic or Lipitor, 90% of them were developed in state colleges that we as taxpayers fund. Once they become a viable drug, then a big pharma company comes in, buys it up on the cheap, and then slaps some marketing on it, and then sells it back to you for a huge fucking profit. The reason why somebody like me doesn't like Big Pharma is because they are robbing us blind and overpricing on all of the prescriptions that we need as a society. That's why we don't like Big Pharma. The reason why Donald Trump doesn't like Big Pharma is because, or Donald Trump followers don't like Big Pharma, is because they think that they were putting microchips in the fucking vaccine. Or tracking devices, or they're infecting you with the virus that's going to kill you. And all the people who died didn't die because they had COVID. 1.2 million people, they died because they got the fucking vaccine. Meanwhile, all of the stories, you remember, it hasn't been that long ago, stories of people going, I wish I had taken the vaccine 12 hours before they fucking die. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Joe Rogan, for helping to perpetuate that bullshit. And thank you, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., for constantly, Mr. I hate vaccines. You're going to trust a guy that talks like that? A fucking ex-junkie who can barely speak. Oh, it might be a medical condition. Okay, I'll have this much pity for his medical condition. But while he's trying to take away access to medications from American people and say, the reason why you got cancer is because of red dot number 5 and all that. Fuck off, man. Fuck off. Anyway, Donald Trump is out there giving a little bit of press conference, and he suggests that the fix for our overpriced medication is, and I've got a really great idea. I'd say nationalize it. Nationalize Big Pharma and put a price cap on all those drugs. That sounds like a great idea to me. Oh no, that sounds like communism. That sounds like socialism, Marxism. Sure, honey. Every other nation on the planet has some kind of Medicare for all that covers all of their people. And their medications are either regulated by the government to not be price gouging us, or they are just straight from the government. We, as an American government, we could take up all of the copyrights that are bought by these big pharmaceutical companies. We just take them back, and we release generic versions of them. Wouldn't it be great to have a generic version of insulin as opposed to paying $300-400 a month for your insulin shots? You could just get it either, $30 a bottle, like you can in Canada. We could do that. We literally could do that. But we're choosing not to because we believe in the profit motive. So Donald Trump's big idea it's not for us or Medicare or Medicaid to negotiate drug prices, which all other countries do. And when you are a supplier, like the single supplier for a nation's, drug consumption, you can bargain and barter with the drug companies to bring those prices down because you're buying up all of the drugs. So the prices are going to be less and you can negotiate. Do you want us to spend this much money with you, Mr. Big Pharma? Or do you want it to just take away all of that and just make generics on our own? I mean, that right there, the negotiation, that is a compromise with Big Pharma and capital. We could just take it, but that's communism, that's socialism. We can't have that. We can't have that. Can't have healthcare, can't have pharmaceuticals. Nope, can't have that. Communism. Gotcha. Okay, well, Donald Trump's idea is as opposed to negotiating drug prices here in America to bring prices down, he is suggesting that all the other countries in Europe they should stop negotiating so hard and they should pay more money. Because innovation, like I said at the beginning of this clip, we, as the American public, fund state schools that do the research to create these drugs. That's our money. That's our tax dollars at work. And then a pharmaceutical company comes in there and buys up those rights and then sells it back to you at 10 times the price. So you're paying for it coming and going. So no negotiation to bring down prices of drugs in America. We need to take away the negotiating power of Europe, and that will magically bring down the cost of drugs. Now, let's just say, I will give him the benefit of the doubt that the prices will go down, that the pharmaceutical companies will make more money from this. That's the whole idea. Pharmaceutical companies will make more money, and since they're making more money, they will bring the cost down. Now, I remember back during Donald Trump's first term, he tried to do something similar to this. He got his big splashy headline about him going up against Big Pharma, and the prices did not go down. And I'll tell you why. Because all of those benefits that would make it into the pockets of pharmaceutical executives do not equate lower cost for you, the consumer. They take that money and they buy back their stock, thereby increasing the stock price, thereby increasing the amount of money in their bank accounts. That's how it works, folks. You give corporations tax breaks. You give them deregulation. You give them the ability to make more money. And they take that money and they do not bring down the cost of consumer goods or pharmaceuticals or your rent or whatever. None of the prices ever go down. Ever. They take that money and they buy back their own stock and they increase their wealth. Which is why in the last 40, 50 years since Reagan, the amount of money that has gone from the working class up to the 1% is somewhere between 70 and 80 trillion dollars with a fucking T in the last 50 years. And that was done by the Cato Institute, which is a very right-wing think tank. So take that for what you will. But since COVID, do you remember COVID? Of course you remember COVID. It's only been a couple of months. I mean, a couple of years. But during COVID, in the first 18 months of COVID, the billionaire class doubled their wealth from the amount of money injected into the stock market and then that money being used to buy stock. I remember Trump's financial advisor in his first term, his name was Cohen. He was standing in a room full of 400 executives and he asked them, so if we give you the tax cuts, you're going to take that money and hire some people, right? Let's see a show of hands. Nobody raised their fucking hands. Not a one. Because they knew what they were going to do. What they always do. They don't invest it back in the company. They buy back their stock. Which is an inflationary measure that raises the price of their pockets, the value of their pockets. It takes stock off the market, thereby increasing their share and their value. So when Donald Trump says, we're going to bring down the cost of drugs, and here's the thing, he doesn't care one way or the other whether or not it happens or not, which it won't, but he doesn't care. What he cares about is getting that headline because he's got a 39% approval rating. Congress is about to gut Medicaid, and he is looking to distract. So he reaches out, gets somebody from the West Wing to call up Fox News and say, Donald Trump is fighting back against Big Pharma. And then just like loyal, obedient, news sycophantic bootlickers that Fox News is, they print it out or they type it up and put it on the internet and gives Donald Trump cover. They know that in 2 weeks, it's always 2 weeks or 30 days or 90 days, we're going to get this figured out. Get this figured out with China, 90 days. He knows that in 2 weeks, 30 days, 90 days, you are not going to remember. And they will lie about it anyway. It's like Donald Trump said, he never said lock her up. There are thousands of videos of Donald Trump saying lock her up. But his followers, they don't believe it because all he has to say is, I didn't say that. And they're like, well, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. He said he didn't say that. He knows you're not going to remember this shit. This is just to give him a little bit of cover from the big, beautiful bill that's coming to fuck you out of your Social Security and your Medicare and your Medicaid. He's using this as a distraction from all the bad news that's coming his way. And you know what? Goddamn, I hope his people actually wake up and see this shit. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take. If their drug prices go up, or their Social Security gets cut, or their access to health care gets cut. I don't know. I mean, I think that there's always going to be 25% of America that just goes, Donald Trump, just trust the plan. Just like a religion, just like a cult, He said he's going to fix it. I believe him. Okay, let's see how that works out. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.